In a kingdom divided by war, three states were created to prevail peace among their people. These three kingdoms were formed by descendants of the phoenix, who descend from the fire, controlling it. They all had red hair and eyes as warm as a flaming winter. The griffin, who were characterized by their large wings and sharp eagle-like vision. The sorcerers, who were great warriors blessed by the great power of the amethyst, being now sorcerers who guard the gem. They had different mental abilities. The sorcerers were the most powerful beings, where the king lives, who was also a sorcerer. Despite living in relative peace, no one could have guessed what would happen next. One day, a traveler arrived in his jet black horse. Our protagonist, with porcelain white skin and shoulder hair as black as night, waited for his next adventure. Days passed, and in his desperation for food, he decided to steal in a nearby market. Once there, a commotion catches his attention, and he finds a covered person being threatened by one of the merchants. He hesitates until he decides to intervene. His speed and physical ability get him out of the trouble, and he takes the stranger and some fruits with him. Thank you, but who are you? The stranger says. A foreigner. You can call me Damien. The stranger keeps his gaze on the person who has just saved him. For a time, the generate stops in the one who is now being analyzed. He is about to speak when the young man says, "Come with me." "No, why would I do that?" says Damien. "Because I know what you want, and I can give it to you. I'm not a danger either." Still hesitantly, he followed him. At one point, they began to pass the castle barrier. He was about to back away until the young man began to speak again. "My name is Miguel. I have a job for you." "What?" The situation he was involved could be summarized to the one called Miguel being part of the loyalty of the Sorcerer's Kingdom. They wanted him as a warrior in the war they believed was coming between the three kingdoms after the last tensions. If you joined, you will be given the power of the amethyst. You will not have to worry about anything for the rest of your life. Even if you decide to leave, you will be paid like no other. I chose you for discretion. You are a foreigner, you have no gifts, and are not part of any kingdom. We are being watched over like the Griffin and Phoenix kingdoms. We will not be able to hire a foreigner for this job without them noticing."
The job of spy and the warrior, besides being involved and war with two other kingdoms, was not funny to him. But something was happening that the what was not being told. There was something that did not add up. His war began. He, he was hint to both opposing kingdoms infiltrating to get information. He had no reason to support the successor beyond their promise of money. On his way he understood the abilities of the inhabitants of each realm. They succeeded and underwards he knew what a war would cost. We had no say in a fight. Weak points, battle formations, spies, everything that was important to guide him and advance he may know until at last the day of the recursion of crime. With the wars with our kingdom is in one control, we don't they have the amethyst under their power, and with these same words that they had been hearing since the beginning of his work. The wars began. This before he was granted the power of the amethyst in addition to the combination. Not tell him. He knew they had control over him and no reason his power. The strength, the enhancement of the psychical abilities, and the development of new ones was overwhelming and painful. But not. But the moment the virus began, his what has known to become a legend, that we told for centuries. He knew that those he killed were not really enemies. His mind decided at a certain point to stop thinking of them as people and only as means to eliminate it. Once placed, Until he realized that there was no one left. The arrogance and pride of the other kings made him continue with the war even the entire population was the only unaffected. No one supported saying no at the dominance of the Soccer was prominent, or so it was thought. One night, at the end of the fateful war, Michael decided to tell her what was happening. We created the war. We made the one control over the realms to the griffins and phoenix. The mind control ability of the wizards is unique to the direct descendants of the first blessed ones. They are destined fighting because we made them do it. With this shock of reality, War Hero decides to put an end to the war by killing the kings of the kingdom he had defended until now, managing to free himself from the control to which he was subject and putting an end to the genocide. He then decided to gain power to Mythos. World War reigned with the support of the other kingdoms. One of Hero deciding to leave the place, at first with some powers, with wit of the power of the amethyst inside